Earned runs allowed in 14 and a third innings, and that includes 5 shutout innings against the Rangers last time out.
As Hazel told you during Blue Jays Central, it is toasty warm here in Detroit right now. 34 Celsius, 93 Fahrenheit, and I hate to say this part, there's talk that thunderstorms could be coming in a couple of hours. Let's think positively and see how it goes. Nathan Lucas leading it off for the Blue Jays. And Olsen quickly out in front 0-2 on Lucas, who's getting the start in center field tonight and continues to be the leadoff man for the Blue Jays when a righty is on the mound for the opposition.
Olsen used his fastball a lot last game against the Blue Jays, the four-seamer and the sinker, but an outstanding changeup. There it is right there.
Missed outside with it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lucas, Springer, and Guerrero. The Blue Jays got to their hotel at about 2:30 in the morning. As Lucas hits a bouncer to first, a big hop for Spencer Torkelson, and that's the first out of the ballgame.
Defensively behind Reese Olsen tonight for the Tigers, Riley Green in left field. Olsen.
Now George Springer, who looked like he wanted to look that first pitch over, and he takes it for a strike. John Schneider joked before the game that he had to remind Springer, hey, pack your glove, would you? We're going to throw you out there in the outfield on this road trip. He's been DHing almost all the time, but they want to get Guerrero off his feet every now and again. And he said both players had a couple of days' notice about it. And again, everybody's just kind of doing what they're being asked to do. Everybody understands they've got 14 games in 13 days, and it's hot weather. They got a doubleheader coming. As that one bounces in 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Springer, of course, no problem at all going out there in the outfield from time to time. Down to a knee he goes as he pops it up in foul territory on the first base side, and Torkelson will make that play for out number 2.
There's that changeup, and he'll use it to righties and lefties. He gets a lot of swing and miss on both the slider and the changeup, but that'll be a challenge against this Blue Jays lineup that is a very high contact-oriented lineup, does not strike out much at all, and that is what has given opposing pitchers fits.
And A.J. Hinch well aware of that. It was a lengthy talking point during Hinch's pregame media availability about how much pressure the Blue Jays offense has put on other teams. He talked about being more creative with their roster, soft platoons, and really getting a lot out of everybody on their roster. All of the things that you've been seeing at home and we've been talking about, well, A.J. Hinch and the Tigers have noticed them as well, of course. 2-0 the count on Guerrero, who went 2 for 5 with a couple of RBIs last night and is hitting .285 with 13 homers. And that catches the corner, 2-1.
I thought it was interesting, too. One of AJ's comments, he talked about how they're feasting on the energy of one another, and that's all part, and the Tigers had that going on in their lineup as well before their recent struggles. Everyone contributing.
Yeah, when you think about what the Blue Jays are when they have been at their best recently, there are a lot of similarities to what the Tigers are when they have been at their best, which isn't recently, but before this little rough patch that they've been in. Swing and a miss, 3-2 on Guerrero.
And that's why AJ made a comment, too, that he knows that his defense is going to have to be on display in this series because there will be a lot of balls put in play.
On the 6-game homestand, the Blue Jays only struck out 26 times, 4.3 times per game. But there's one here as Guerrero gets rung up, and it's a 3-up, 3-down first for Reese Olsen. for the All-Star break. So they're just happy to be back in a familiar surrounding for them. Eric Lauer is on the mound tonight for the Blue Jays.
Tigers happy to be back home, but they've got a tough one to face tonight in the lefty Eric Lauer in his 7th season in the big leagues. 15 games now for Eric since he became a fixture in this Blue Jays rotation. That goes all the way back to the middle of June at St. Louis. 7 starts, the ERA is at .334. Just 2 hits he gave up to the Giants in his last start. 2 runs. It was a 2-run homer by Willie Adames, but he was excellent.
Not only is he past the point of, is this a regular thing? Will you let him go? Can he stay out there as long as he's going well? Like, those questions don't even get asked anymore because he's been so good. This is grounded up the middle. He finds it and will make the play, and already Tyler Heineman is out at the mound, as is the home plate umpire Ramon De Jesus to check on Lauer, who appears to be okay.
One of the best parts of this play, Dan, is the way that he picks up the baseball. He identifies it, but watch what he does. He does not use his glove to pick up the ball. He goes down with his bare hand, and that's important for any infielder because oftentimes you go down with your glove and you may come up and miss. It looked like he was going to use his glove, but then used his hand. Good job and good recovery.
Number 2 hitter is Jahmai Jones, the Tigers DH. Hitting .245, 3 homers. That half a second where you can't find the baseball must feel like half an hour.
It's the worst feeling in the world. And you think of catchers behind the plate, you block a baseball, and you can't find it. You're looking for help right away from one of your teammates.
High drive to deep left center field, and it's out of here. It's a home run for Jahmai Jones. And the Tigers take a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first.
Well, Jahmai Jones has been scuffling, but this is exactly why he is in the lineup, to hit left-handed pitching. And he got a fastball, back-to-back fastballs on the inside part of the plate, and he was ready for it. Trying to come inside, got it in there, but he was ready for it. Almost like he was leaving early.
His 4th on the season, and the Tigers have the early lead. And now here's Spencer Torkelson, who brings 21 home runs to the plate. Former first overall pick back in 2020. And certainly had his ups and downs in his big league career. Actually got sent down to the minors for a while last year. Was not a given to make the team this year, but had a good spring. And he's had a good season. It's 1-1 the count. And a swing and a miss at a ball away. A changeup there from Lauer, and it's 1-2.
Looks like he will have to mix it up a little bit. The Tigers are coming out swinging aggressively, and Jahmai Jones got him early.
Up and away. Misses with a fastball. 2-2.
Spencer Torkelson is trying to do one thing, and that's get the ball in the air. He has been an extra base machine. Big guy with a flat path, probably best down in the zone.
Lauer went back to the changeup again, but he missed well off the outside corner, so it's now 3-2. And there it is, a lot of extra base hits, as Joe said. Lauer's had very good success with his fastball this year, and he's had very good success against right-handed batters this year. Sometimes, of course, it's the reverse for a lefty, much tougher on left-handed batters. Big swing and a foul back.
It's a cutter, but I think he was trying to get it inside, and he left it out there. That's a very dangerous place to miss. And in terms of, you're referring to left-handers also getting right-handers out, he is up there above a couple of pretty good lefties in Tarek Skubal, the Tiger that we'll see this weekend, and also Carlos Rodon with that four-seam fastball cutter combination.
3-2 again, and it's popped up wide of first. Wagner's playing first tonight, and he's got room to make the catch. 2 down.
Pretty good job throughout that whole at-bat by Lauer, mixing it up a little bit, changing the locations of those change-ups early in the count. Really came in handy because that's why he's a little tardy getting to that fastball up and away.
So 1-0 Tigers, 2 down, and now here's the cleanup hitter, Riley Green, left-handed batter with a lot of power, 25 home runs. Some things in Lauer's favor here. Green has struggled against lefties, and he has really been struggling in the month of July, hitting just 182, and he has struck out 31 times in July in a major league leading 135 times this year as Lauer jumps out in front 0-2.
You can see with his swing path, he gets a lot of tilt working underneath the baseball. Good low ball hitter. He is looking to get something down and elevate. That's a good pitch because it's lefty-lefty going away. If you throw the heater, got to be up.
Heineman slides to the outside part of the plate, and a miss down and away by Lauer, ball 1. The Tigers just home after getting swept by the Pirates. And again, have lost 9 of their last 10. Seattle swept them recently as well. Breaking ball down and away, 2-2. As a pitcher, you'd love to have as quick an inning as possible over and over in this kind of heat.
We've already seen Eric trying to dry off his hand, his forearm, brim of his cap.
A fly ball to left field. And there to make the catch, Joey Loperfido, as the inning is over, but the Tigers have the early 1-0 lead.
The next guy do it. At this point of his career, Dan, Springer just better understands his role on the Blue Jays. Guys?
Hazel, thank you. He certainly does that, doing the things that he has done to help them win, and we see it in how vocal and upbeat of a leader he has been this year as well.
And you had mentioned earlier, but how about how he's embraced the DH position too, and that can have a little to do with what we just saw, scoring from first base on a double. He's got his legs underneath him, not out in the outfield on his feet as much.
35 years of age, and his sprint speed is 65th percentile, so above average. He's 12 for 12 stealing bases, and we've seen laughter nonstop from him this year, but he loves scoring from first on a double or from second on a single.
The laughing is 100th percentile.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great point. I'm looking for that on Savant right now, but
make a new box.
Maybe I need more of a subscription. Tell me, in your mind, how much of George's ability to be a good base runner, which he is speed, and how much of it is, as Bichette lifts a fly ball to right field, And carrying a bit, but back there is Perez to make the catch, one down. How much is that? He's a really good base runner, the way he cuts corners, takes the bag, and that sort of thing.
So it's all encompassing, but I think, too, it also starts with the staff. John Schneider told us, was it a couple of weeks ago, when he really said the base running early in the season was not good, and they made it a point that they were going to hammer this home, explain to guys, show them what the importance of scoring on a base hit from second base, going first to third, scoring from first on a double. So all of those things, and then who George is and his competitive nature, of course, and then that rubs off on everyone. If you're in that Blue Jays dugout and you're Nathan Lucas, if you're Will Wagner, and you see George Springer doing that, guess what? That's rubbing off up and down the lineup.
Addison Barger, the batter, and I think they know, as well as things have been going, they're not going to bludgeon teams night in and night out. That's not who they are. For them to be really good, they've got to do the little things well, win around the margins, and one of those is base running.
And you don't have to be the fastest player in the league to be a good base runner. There are so many different aspects of base running. You alluded to a couple of them. Your angles, creating your angles around the bag, picking up your coach at the right time.
Barger lines it, but right to Gleyber Torres out at second, who makes the catch for out number 2.
That's a nice piece of hitting by Barger, because that's Reese Olson's best pitch, that changeup. And it stayed out there for him, and he saw it very well. Not much you can do about that. Hit it right at the second baseman.
So 5 up, 5 down so far for Olson, and here comes Ernie Clement to get his first look at him. And Clement will get a first pitch slider over the outside corner for a strike. Clement went 2 for 4 last night, a single, an RBI single, a big play in the 4th. And then it was his ball that Cody Bellinger lost in the sky as Clement went around there. It's 0-2, and it went for a triple. So Ernie was 2 for 4 with a single and a triple. That was a big break. The Yankees gave the Blue Jays a lot of gifts last night. Hard to fault Bellinger on that. I mean, it happens. Guys lose the ball in the sky every now and again, and Bellinger is certainly not part of the problem defensively for the Yankees, but that was a big play for the Blue Jays.
Oh, and the timing was impeccable. It came right after the Judge home run to tie the ball game.
A ball and 2 strikes. And another slider, down and away, 2-2.
Reese Olson will use both fastballs, but a lot of sinker, slider, changeup to the righties, and then to the lefties. He'll incorporate that changeup even more. But he'll use them all, and that's why he's very unpredictable as well.
Had a great start against the Blue Jays in May. 6 innings, no runs, just 1 hit. And the pitch count was low, but he didn't come back out for the 7th. And the next day, he went on the IL with a finger injury and missed 6 weeks. This is just his 4th start since returning from the injured list. A fly ball to right field, and Perez back to make this catch as Olson sets down the Blue Jays in order again. Park in the home of the Tigers. You used to throw some BP here, right? You were an instructor with this team after your playing days for a while.
Hung around here a little bit. Yes, it was a great way to stay involved in the game, yet still be able to be home a little bit. Just shoot across the border, about 20 minutes to Comerica Park. Spend a few hours in the afternoon before I headed back home to coach the kids' teams.
It's not a bad gig.
It was a good gig.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Matt Vierling leads off the bottom of the second. A few folks from Windsor were here, and they all knew Joe Siddle. Some folks down on the field and in the stands before the game. A fair number of Blue Jays fans are here, and a lot of them obviously are from southwestern Ontario, and they all know who you are. Matt Vierling lifts a fly ball to center field, and Nathan Lucas hardly has to move to make the catch. One down.
Well, this little rivalry goes back many, many years, and you know, you and I are both the same age. We know when we were younger what it was like when the Blue Jays played the Tigers, whether it was in Toronto or here in Detroit. I know because I grew up here in Windsor, right on the border next to Detroit, what it meant here, and we always look forward to watching the Blue Jays come to town.
Yeah. And I know because I went to school in London, at Western, right smack dab in the middle, and this was in the mid to late 80s, so the Blue Jays, you know, they were only 8, 9, 10, 11 years old then, and obviously a ton of Tigers fans in London. And my dad lived in Windsor for 8 years, and he was a huge Tiger fan. Norm Cash, Al Kaline. And you and I talked to Willie Horton before the game today.
How about that?
How fun was that?
Willie just hanging around here. Still wonderful to see him.
What a nice man. A great player for the Tigers. Perez slashes this one to right, and Springer is there, 2 down. He was part of the great 1968 team that the Tigers had, and actually was a Blue Jay for a little bit in the late 70s. Played about 30, 40 games late in his career for the Blue Jays. There's the statue for Willie Horton, one of the great statues they have here. He told a story about the 1968 World Series, Game 5. They're down 3-1, and he threw out Lou Brock at home plate. And the Tigers won 5-6-7 and won the World Series.
Is there anything better than hearing those stories from these old-timer players?
Yeah.
Mr. Horton, he's one. Mr. Kaline used to be around here all the time, too, before he passed.
Yeah.
Wonderful gentleman. It's just so cool to see the older guys, the former greats, still around the ballpark.
Awesome history and tradition, obviously, here with this franchise, been around so long. Dylan Dingler, the catcher, is the batter. And an interesting note in the Tigers' notes, getting back to the rivalry between these two teams, this is the first time these two teams have met with each in first place, July or later, since sorry, Blue Jays fans, 1987.
Wow.
That is lined over the head of a leaping Addison Barger down the left field line. Dingler is on his way to second and in there with his stand-up double. Of course, that 87 season is when I'm just going to get myself in more and more trouble here. We're going to replay of the Dingler double where the Blue Jays were up 3.5 with a week to go and lost their last 7, and the Tigers beat them and all that.
Tough final week of the season.
Intense baseball.
But things got better.
Yes.
Things got a little bit better. Back at it in 89, 91, and then we all know about 92 and 93.
I still wish these teams somehow could find a way to be in the same division.
Well, you know what? Maybe next collective bargaining agreement or realignment, whatever they do, maybe they'll start putting some teams together geographically.
Runner at second, 2 down for Colt Keith, the third baseman for the Tigers. In his second year in the big leagues, hitting .254. Just 2 for his last 25. And a guy who hasn't been up there against lefties a lot, and when he's been in there, hasn't hit them very well. Just 6 for 38, a 158 average against lefties on the season. That one runs inside. It's 2-0.
Well, this is the guy you want to go after with Javi Baez on deck because Colt Keith comes into this game scuffling a little bit at the plate, and he's got the lefty-lefty matchup, so Eric Lauer has to take advantage of this matchup right here with 2 outs.
Out of play left side, 2-1.
Lauer doesn't see a lot of lefties, but when he does, he'll use both the slider and the cutter to get away from them.
And now a disengagement. It looked like Heineman kind of wanted Lauer to step back off the rubber. Maybe they would start going through PitchCom again to make sure they agree on what pitch Lauer's going to throw here. Popped up. Wide of third in foul territory. Barger still going over towards the screen, has room, and he makes the catch for the third out of the inning. So a lot of reasons to come on down to the ballpark.
How about those Cubs?
They're right up there with the Blue Jays and Tigers, among the best teams in baseball, although they're now a game behind the scorching hot Milwaukee Brewers, who the Blue Jays will see a little bit later on in the season. Haven't seen them yet. Joey Loperfido batting seventh and playing left field, leads off the top of the third for the Blue Jays. Loperfido's been up a couple of weeks now, 11 games. He's 9 for 29, a .310 average. After Loperfido, Tyler Heineman and Will Wagner. Swing and a miss, 1-2. That's that changeup again.
It's an outstanding changeup. Velocity down a little bit for Reese Olson here early in this ball game, and when that happens, it's always good to have those secondary pitches working. And that changeup's something he can always go to.
That's hooked foul down the line, still 1-2. Loperfido getting a chance to play fairly regularly, has had one start against a lefty, but almost all of his starts have come against right-handed pitchers, as you would imagine, given the way the Blue Jays have some platoons going on these days. Look out. 2-2.
It's a great pitch by Reese Olson. I'm not sure he meant to do that, but if you're a left-handed hitter, that'll just keep you honest in there. So for Joey, just keep looking out over.
Tops this one towards second, and Gleyber Torres to play one down. So I was driving around a couple of days ago and listening to the radio, and lo and behold, A.J. Hinch comes on the radio, and I'm saying, this is great. I can get some prep on the Tigers before we get down there, and the Blue Jays play them and all. And he gets asked a question about guys who never got to the big leagues or had barely gotten to the big leagues because they just called up a pitcher to start yesterday. And he says, I'll tell you about a guy who I wish had more of an opportunity at the big leagues. As Tyler Heineman pops one up in foul territory, Keith, the third baseman, has room. And that's the second out. And lo and behold, the name he says is Mark Budzinski, the first base coach of the Toronto Blue Jays. Hinch and Budzinski were roommates for 2 years at AAA Scranton Wilkes-Barre, which was then a Phillies farm team. This is like 04, 05, the last couple of years of Budzinski's playing career. And they remain extremely close friends. In fact, in the interview, A.J. Hinch said, Mark Budzinski is one of the closest friends that I have in baseball. And he said, Bud only got up for a handful of at-bats. And he's right. Mark Budzinski only got 7 at-bats in the big leagues with the Cincinnati Reds. And Hinch said he didn't get a hit. He said, I just wish one of those would have been a base hit for Mark Budzinski. Listen to the 5 pitchers Mark Budzinski faced in his big league career. Jake Peavy, Eric Gagne, Hideo Nomo, Kevin Brown, and Joe Nathan, who combined for 17 All-Star appearances. Wagner shoots one into left center. That's a base hit. I mean, on the one hand, you got to feel you're the luckiest guy in the world because you've lived out your dream and you're in the big leagues, but then you only get 7 at-bats. And I asked Bud about this because I knew about these pitchers a while ago, and it was like he was, kind of the last guy on the roster, and you want to give a regular a day and, maybe keep that guy's swing in order. And so poor Bud had to go in there and face Cy Young winners and All-Stars and Rookies of the Year and all these years later, A.J. Hinch remembers all that.
And here I am thinking you're driving around the car. Did A.J. know you were listening? Because but for A.J. to even mention that, and it's so true to have that opportunity to play in the big leagues, but then to get that first major league hit.
Nathan Lucas will ground into a force out, and that will retire the Blue Jays here in the top of the 3rd.
Was having their issues. Starters, you had the big 3 going, but the other 2 spots were slowly trying to get filled. He's giving you length out of the bullpen to basically tread water and help survive getting through all that. And for Pete Walker and his staff to really just carefully get through this until he has now fell right into that starting rotation as a regular.
If he hadn't done what he has done, the standings would not be what the standings are. 1-0 Tigers, bottom of the 3rd, and here's Javier Baez swinging at the first pitch, rolls one out to short, and he is thrown out by Bo Bichette. Baez, who got off to a really good start this year, was actually an all-star this season. He is another one of a number of Tiger hitters struggling in recent weeks, as Lauer gets him on one pitch.
And if I would have told you in spring training that by July, Yariel Rodriguez was going to be pitching big-time innings, leverage innings out of the back end of the bullpen, you probably would have said, I don't know about that, right? But I remember in spring training there was a game, and we had Pete Walker on headset, and I asked him the question, what is the best role for Yariel Rodriguez? And I think, if I remember correctly, he just kind of said, they're still trying to figure out. Yeah. They really didn't know.
That question lasted for weeks.
Yes.
I mean, there was, they stretched him out a little bit in the spring, and was he maybe battling for a spot in the rotation? Everything was up in the air there. Top of the order, Gleyber Torres, who grounded out his first time up. A good curveball there, and it's 0-2. And now where would they be without Yariel Rodriguez, especially with Jimmy Garcia back on the IL for the 2nd time with an elbow issue? Got a little bit of an update, more than a little bit of an update. Got an update on that, among other things, from John Schneider before the game today. Garcia had a cortisone shot in his elbow. He is shut down for 2 weeks. Nice grab, and little fan, that ball's for you. Nick Sandlin also had a cortisone shot in his elbow. He is shut down for at least a week. Then hopefully each of them will begin ramping up. Here's another ground ball to short, this time by Torres. 2 down. So maybe that means Jimmy Garcia has avoided the worst case scenario if they didn't find anything, that bad. But again, we only know what we know. But even if Garcia starts throwing in 2 weeks, he's going to need to ramp up and have a rehab assignment. Like he's a ways away, and the trade deadline is 7 days away. So you got to believe that Pete Walker is hoping for an arm or two to show up, given some of the injuries they have on the staff right now.
Well, that injury to Jimmy was a big blow, especially before the trade deadline. But if there is good timing, maybe that's it, so that they know it's ahead of them and they know how they have to deal with it.
Yeah, the worst time for a major injury to a key player is August the 1st.
Yes.
Because the deadline's gone, and what can you do about it?
And I'm sure that's what they're going to be thinking before the deadline, because you still have 2 months of baseball to get through, hoping guys can stay healthy.
On the pitching side, still, Alek Manoah is going to throw a simulated game in Dunedin Saturday. There's no issue. The only reason he's going to throw a simulated game is the Dunedin Blue Jays are on the road, and they want to manage the pitch count and manage the situation. Have him get his up downs as cleanly as possible. So it is another step in his progression. This one is lined to right, and Springer will make the catch. Jahmai Jones is retired, and Lauer has a 3-up, 3-down. Is starting off the 4th.
Did you do that on purpose?
No, I don't do anything on purpose.
Just do what you're told, right?
I just repeat what our producer Doug Walton says in my headset. Everybody knows that. A little behind the curtain peek at how things work around here. And Springer shoots it to right field. Good contact, but Perez makes the catch. And 1 pitch, 1 out here, top of the 4th for Reese Olson.
Some hard hit balls on both sides. Right fielder's getting some action.
So far, the Blue Jays have just 1 base runner against Olson. That was a base hit by Will Wagner with 2 outs in the 3rd. Here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who was called out on strikes in the 1st, the only strikeout Olson has so far. Maybe both teams know thunderstorms are supposed to arrive at about 9 o'clock, and so the pitchers are working fast, throwing strikes, and the hitters are swinging early.
Like one of those spring training game guys. Hey, let's get out of here early.
Beat the weather. Down low, 2-1 on Guerrero, who is 3rd in the American League, having drawn 60 walks on the season. You've talked about it. That's all good. There's nothing wrong there, but you'd like to see a little more aggressiveness in certain situations from Guerrero. Sends this one to shallow center field, and that's going to drop. Boy, that got in on him, and he did not hit it off the sweet spot, and that actually helped as he's got a base hit.
Well, it's a sinker from Olsen, but watch how Vladdy, he's almost cutting this ball. He's almost slicing it. See with the bad angle, it's kind of coming down into the zone and then out of the zone, so you're almost like just slicing the baseball as opposed to when that direction is right. And again, it all, for me, goes right back to your initial move, but when your direction is good, it's going toward the middle of the field more and the barrel staying through that zone longer. He'll take the base hit, but we just know there is so much more in the tank.
So he's at first with one out. Here's Bo Bichette. And somehow, with all of the good things that have been happening around this team, and Bo makes a lot of noise when he is going well. I mean, with his bat. And he's been making a lot of noise, but it hasn't gotten a ton of attention. He's got 11 extra base hits in his last 15 games. A fly ball to right field, and for the second time tonight, he will fly out to right, 2 down. Had the big 2-run home run last night, but 0 for 2 now tonight. And that'll bring up Addison Barger, who hit the ball sharply, but lined out to Gleyber Torres at second in his first at-bat.
Reese Olson does a pretty good job holding runners. Dylan Dingler does a pretty good job behind the plate throwing. I don't think Vladdy's going anywhere. You've got the hole on the right side. Maybe Barger can cash him in with an extra base hit.
Because I think the only guy who likes scoring from first more than George Springer is Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
When he starts diving halfway home from third, we'd love to see it.
This is a big outfield, too. You get the ball in the alleys. I mean, this is a good triples ballpark. It's so deep out there.
I'd love to see Addison run for a triple. He'd look like a linebacker looking for a quarterback.
Yeah.
Lots of room out there, especially out there in right center. Playing him around the other way slightly in center.
Good take there on a slow breaking ball. 2 balls and a strike. Again, not just a wild, free swinger. Has a pretty good idea of what he's looking for. Pretty good eye at the plate. And, of course, loads of power. And he hits it hard. Deep right field and caught on the warning track by Perez. Just didn't get it up in the air enough to really do some damage. And the
with high character, and they've absolutely loved having him in the rotation. Then Bassett broke out in a laugh and said, "It's just too bad he went to a terrible school." Lauer went to Kent State University. Bassett went to the rival University of Akron in Ohio. Guys,
come on, Bassett.
Yeah. Boy, it's not like Chris Bassett to throw a jab in like that, is it?
The Battle of Ohio.
Tyler Heineman kind of echoes a lot of the things that Chris Bassett said. Heineman caught Lauer his last time out. That was Heineman's last start. And I asked him about how much fun it is to catch a guy like Eric Lauer, because he's not just rearing back and firing, here's my best fastball, and let me try to beat you over and over. There's a lot of communication, a lot of game planning, a lot of teamwork between the pitcher and catcher when you're the kind of pitcher that Eric Lauer is, more of a finesse guy than a power guy. And Tyler Heineman really enjoys that cerebral part of the game.
It's probably the most fun for a catcher because it's easy to go back there and catch a two-pitch guy that's got a power fastball and a splitter, whatever the case may be. A lot of times those relievers are like that, but a guy with a handful of different pitches, you know that you have to navigate, especially he's going to face a lot of right-handed batters. Sometimes you're going to use the cutter in on them. Sometimes you're going to backdoor it, move the fastball around.
And on PitchCom, it's not just Heineman pushing the cutter button. There's also the outside or inside or high or low. Like, so there are, multiple things that have to be agreed upon, maybe two on certain pitches. But there's a lot going on between these two. Ground ball to third. Barger backs up a little bit. You know he's got the arm, and it's there in plenty of time.
Well, John Schneider alluded to this today. Addison Barger does a lot of moving back and forth from right field to third base, even in game. So he reminds them, make sure you take ground balls a few days a week to stay sharp, but he makes a good decision here. Oftentimes you'll hear young coaches say, charge the ball. Well, no, you don't always charge the baseball. Addison took one step forward, but then he backed off and actually took a couple steps back, gave himself a good hop, and then used that outstanding arm.
Riley Green, the batter. Green hit a fly ball to left his first time up as he looks at a cutter for a strike. So Barger knows he's got the arm that he's got. When you have more arm, does that give you a little bit more freedom to back up rather than charging and taking a trickier hop?
You want to field the ball cleanly first and foremost, but whenever you have that arm, you know you've always got it in your back pocket, so you can afford to do a lot of different things. But I just thought that was a really good read. If he comes to get that ball, he may have given himself a short hop. So it's good to come get it if you can get the right hop, but if you can't get it in the air, backing off is a great thing.
Line drive left center, and that's down for a base hit for Green.
Their greatest strength is each other. Experience
The Blue Jays out on the road. This is an 8-game, 7-day road trip. They've got a doubleheader, day-night doubleheader in Baltimore Tuesday, 4 here in Detroit, and then 4 in 3 days in Baltimore. Here's Matt Vierling, but first to throw to first to drive the runner back. And then these 8 games take them right up to the trade deadline. Their last game in Baltimore is July 30th, and the deadline is 1 week. Well, 1 week from now, the deadline will have come and gone. It's 6 p.m. 1 week from today, Thursday the 31st. And part of what goes on at this time is manager and coaches, they don't want everybody in the clubhouse worrying about the trade deadline. Just keep doing what you're doing, focus on the task at hand, win the game tonight. But everybody knows that there could be some coming and going over the next week.
And I can promise you that we talk about this every day on every broadcast about the record and what they've done since this date and how many runs they've scored, all these different things. Players, coaches down there, they're aware of it. Of course they are. They're doing it every day. But they're so caught up in today. And that's what managers do. They worry about today. And they prepare their players to win a baseball game today. They don't look a week from now. They don't look a month from now. They're enjoying, of course, the ride that they're on, these Blue Jays, but they know the task at hand is right here for tonight.
A couple of strikes on Vierling. And that is outside, ball 1. Now, let's say Ross Atkins, the front office, that they're talking to a certain team about player X. I'm sure they would go to John Schneider and say, what do you think about player X? Well, what if we had to give up player Y to get him? You know, those conversations happen, but the players are generally kept away from that.
Absolutely, so, and they're just focusing on what they're doing, and that's the way it should be. Players are good at forgetting yesterday, forgetting today when it's over, and that's why when you get hitters that are scuffling and you go you're 2 for 20, 2 for 25, oftentimes you'll see them, sure, sometimes the body language might show it, but for the most part, these guys know that you come back to the ballpark and it's a new day tomorrow because you have to. You can't get all upset and emotional when you have a tough stretch in this season. It's a 6-month baseball season, 162 games. You are going to have some ups and downs.
Swing and a miss as Lauer really got Vierling to leave the strike zone and chase there. 2 down.
Oh, he gets him to chase all right. And I would say that's a little uncharacteristic of Vierling. Just way out there with the fastball. It's been a tough season for Vierling. He came off that shoulder injury, went back on the injured list again, and then when he came back, it's obviously tough to get going, tough to get your timing down.
So 2 down for Wencel Perez, the right fielder, who lined out to his counterpart, George Springer, in right in his first at-bat. Riley Green, the runner at first, 2 down. As Heineman's got to kind of regroup here.
We talk about base running a lot, and we've talked about how the Blue Jays have done it so well. And you remember the play yesterday, Davis Schneider. He read the ball in the dirt and advanced to second base. That ball went way further away from the catcher right there, Heineman, than that ball yesterday that Schneider advanced on. Those are the things. You're reading the ball out of the pitcher's hand. You're watching the trajectory of the pitch. As you see it going down into the ground, Schneider had taken off yesterday. Great jump. Good heads-up play.
Do you remember what John Schneider, how he referred to that play about Davis Schneider when we talked to him about it before the game? He called it a dirtbag read. Now, a dirtbag is a compliment for a baseball player. It's a guy who's just going to do the little things and get dirty and just find a way to try to beat you. And he said that was a great dirtbag read by Davis Schneider.
And that's the kind of player he is. You have to do all of the little things. He knows when he gets to the plate what he's trying to do, but you can always help on the base pass once hitting's over with.
Schneider's had a couple of good base running moments recently. The night before, remember, he had doubled in a run and then he scored from second on a base hit by George Springer in a very, very close play at the plate.
And he's not starting this game, but I'll bet he has a bat in his hand by about the 5th inning in case the Tigers are thinking of going to their bullpen for a left-hander.
Ball and 2 strikes on Perez.
I'm sure fans are following along with us throughout the course of a game. I'm sure there are a lot of fans that could write out the Blue Jays lineup every day. There's almost a right-handed hitting lineup facing a lefty and a left-handed hitting lineup facing a righty, and they can almost now predict when the changes might be made.
Mm-hmm. And how the defense will look after the changes are made.
It's a lot of fun to follow along a team that's so dynamic like this.
And John Schneider said it's a lot of fun to manage a team like this because you're not just sitting back and saying, here's my 9, go get them. You're constantly looking for the little edge here and there. And that's how you get a team where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, which I think most people would agree this team has been this year.
And I feel like when this discussion comes up in the manager's office most days, Schneider always alludes to the fact that yes, we're putting these players in these positions, good positions to succeed, but they're executing. They're doing it. And that's right on the players. Ultimately, they're the ones that are performing between the lines.
To center field. Lucas is going back, and he runs it down for out number 3. Through 4 here at Comerica Park, the Tigers lead 1-0. League, and maybe even more. They are 20 games over 500. The Brewers have the best record in all of baseball. They have overtaken the Cubs for top spot in the National League Central. They have an outstanding pitching staff. And you want to talk about a team that puts the ball in play, uses its speed, puts pressure on you. They do all of that stuff, and then they've got a great pitching staff as well. They're a big surprise this year.
Feels like they're always revolving around pitching, and you just try to hit enough, and they're certainly doing that right now.
I love the new-ish schedule where they I would never have thought I would have said this a few years ago, but where they've increased the amount of interleague play, so you now see every team every year. I just enjoy. You get a chance to see the other 29 teams. It's fun.
Yep. If they're not coming to your ballpark, you're heading there on the road, and fans get to see it on TV. It's very cool.
3-1 the count on Ernie Clement, leading off the top of the fifth. It's 1-0 Tigers. The Blue Jays have just 2 hits so far off Reese Olson, but now they've got 3 as Clement lines it through the left side for a leadoff single.
Good way to start things off, and maybe Ernie starting to get back a little bit, get back on track, tried to go sinker in there, and he was ready for it.
Now Joey Loperfido, who hit a ground ball to second his first time up. The third baseman, Keith, well off the line, but in even with the bag. Loperfido shows bunt and bunts it foul. Loperfido is part of the group. Every few days, there will be a bunch of them out early doing some bunting, and Joey is in that group. And at the bottom of the order, we've seen the Blue Jays do this a lot.
Sometimes on their own, sometimes there is a sign. If he does it again, I'll guess the first pitch there is a bunt sign. If not, he may have done it on his own.
May have done it on his own.
Hard to say. The last time he did this, it was one of the games in the homestand. And I didn't necessarily like it because it was early in the ballgame. I think it was the second inning, and I like to try to play for the big inning early in the ballgame. When I asked John Schneider that the next day, it was not a bunt sign. So it was something that he tried to do, and with that left-handed bat, you want to try to find a gap.
Swung on and missed, and Olson gets him for the first out.
Not to mention, if you don't do it successfully, you put yourself in a little bit of a hole. When you put yourself in a little bit of a hole against a good pitcher like Reese Olson, especially with that devastating changeup, you can really put yourself behind the 8 ball.
One out, and here's Tyler Heineman, who's 0 for 1 tonight. Again, Heineman playing for the first time since Saturday. Alejandro Kirk starting 4 in a row behind the plate for just the second time this year. They wanted Kirk in there for all 3 Yankee games, and talked with Heineman about it a couple of days ago. He totally gets it. He says, I understand my job. That's to be the backup, to play when they tell me to play, and then you'll find the next line interesting, I think. There goes the runner, and this is a foul ball. 1-1. And I didn't ask him a question. He just kept going, and he said, and when I play, his first goal is like, have the pitcher be happy that he's behind the plate and comfortable with him, even though he doesn't catch him all the time. He said, but my other main goal when I play is for them to not have to bring Kirk into the game. He said, I want Kirk to get a whole day off when Kirk is supposed to get a whole day off.
And you know how you do that? You call a great game, you handle your pitching staff, and have a lead in the 6th, 7th, 8th inning so they don't have to make the change.
1-2.
Easier said than done, but as a backup catcher, you could go 0 for 4. If you catch a winner, it's a great day. And you always want your hits. There is no question. So that sounds silly, but if you're doing what Tyler Heineman's doing, you win baseball games when your number is called, you're going to stick around this game a long time.
He talked about the last game that he had. He had a double and a home run in a game recently, and he said, I was so excited. He said, and this is to your point, he goes, I know I'm going to catch when I'm going to catch. I don't have to put pressure on myself that I've got to get hits or I won't play again in 4 days, because I know how they feel about me. I know what my job is. They keep communicating it to me. So he's not up there grinding saying, man, if I don't get a hit here today, I'm not going to play again or they're going to send me down. And it's freed up his mind to just play the game and not worry about too many things.
And that's specific to his position because you're carrying 2 catchers on the roster. So it is a nice peace of mind.
Olson gets him on a fastball up above the zone. Back-to-back strikeouts, 2 down.
A lot of these other guys playing positionally, whether you're an outfielder or an infielder, when moves are made, or if you're not doing well, the move can be made that you head back down to AAA Buffalo. But for Heineman, he just knows, do your job behind the plate, and you will settle in under the radar comfortably, backing up Alejandro Kirk, the All-Star.
2 down, here's Will Wagner. So Clement still at first after that leadoff single. Wagner had a base hit to left center in his one at-bat tonight. Mark Budzinski with a little more info. Let's see what kind of a time they've got on Olsen and if they test this combination now with 2 down. Clement not going, and a swing and a miss by Wagner, 1-1.
I'm going to say not, only because you're trying to turn that lineup over again. And again, it's not your classic leadoff hitter, Nathan Lucas, but he is atop of the Blue Jays lineup for now. But still, what you're doing is you're getting closer to Springer, to Vladdy, to Bo. And to Barger. I need to start including that name with those guys with what he's doing.
Yeah, we've talked about the big boys and the complimentary guys, and I think Barger's moved. He shifted
up.
Groups, right?
Took the elevator up to the big boys category. You certainly feel good with him at the plate.
One other injury-related note, speaking of guys that the Blue Jays would like to get back, and that is Dalton Varsho, who is going to go to Buffalo. He's been down in Florida, but he's going to go to Buffalo as of tomorrow night and spend the weekend there playing rehab games, and all going well, should rejoin the Blue Jays at some point during the Baltimore series. Not necessarily on Monday. See how it goes. Would be great to get him back by Tuesday. Remember, they've got a doubleheader, so you'd love to have him back to play in at least one of those games on Tuesday. It sounds like things are progressing, and the Blue Jays will get their Gold Glove center fielder back in a few days. In the air to left. And the catch by Riley Green. A leadoff single for Ernie Clement, but that's it. And it is still 1-0 Detroit as we go back to the studio for an update with Brett. Get the start in that one for the Giants. 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific tomorrow night on Sportsnet 1. Lots of Jays fans here in Detroit. But so far a very quiet night for the offense. It's 1-0 Tigers, bottom 5. Eric Lauer to face Dylan Dingler, who sends a fly ball to right field. Right center now for Springer. Lauer's gotten a few one-pitch outs here tonight.
Nice way to stay efficient. Keeps you in the ball game a long time.
I think George is having fun running around. He doesn't want to do it every day, but he's happy to do it once in a while.
He'll sprinkle it in.
Yeah.
He'll bring his glove for a day or two. Has to be fun to get back out there once in a while, especially on the grass.
One down. Here's Colt Keith, 0 for 1. Popped up in foul territory to Addison Barger back in the second. And he'll swing at the first pitch. It's going to be Springer again. 2 down. Look how much fun he's having.
You know what they say, Dan. Now, this is an interesting one.
Yes. There's no way.
2 pitches, 2 outs.
Yeah.
Free strike. But Javi Baez.
Right.
If there is one player in
Yeah.
the league that would swing at this pitch, he might be standing in the right-hand batter's box right here. But I'm going to say no.
You're going to say he's going to take a pitch.
Yep.
I'm with you.
As I said, though, in saying that, I'm not sure you can just gift him one here because he might be the one to do it. In a one-run ball game, you got to be careful. He tried.
Oh, wow.
He tried. He did.
Yeah. So now that he's taking a strike, he's not taking again.
No.
And now what I really want is just another routine fly ball to
That
right
would be
field.
really nice.
Like let Springer have all 3.
Next
and,
pitch.
And just have a big smile on his face coming off the field.
Springer would tie a record if that happened.
Oh, ground ball to third. Eric Lauer needed 4 pitches. 4 pitches to get 3 outs in the bottom of the 5th. They've got 3 hits so far, all singles. As Lucas fouls it off. He's 0 for 2 on the night. Oh, 2. Swing and a foul off. Lucas still alive. There's somebody below us trying to get a wave going here in Detroit.
Trying hard.
I think it's just too hot.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do a wave in this heat.
Everybody just sit down and enjoy the game. Any kind of yelling would induce a sweat from me.
Yeah, it's mid-30. It's about 35 Celsius, 95 Fahrenheit.
The game kind of feels like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of a slow, lethargic game. Not a whole lot of hitting going on.
Good pitch. Great location there by Olsen. 1 down.
Well, not overpowering by any means, but when you go in there and you hit your spot, that's a beautiful thing for a pitcher. And that ball came right back on the edge of the inside part of the plate.
Now George Springer, 0 for 2, lined out to right his last time out. Went after it, but fouls it off 0-1. The changeup, in your opinion, the best pitch for Olsen?
I think it is, yeah. And I think what he's doing so well against these righties is he's moving the fastball in and out. But then he's got the slider that goes away from righties, and he's got the changeup down and in. And, of course, it's straighter and slower speed, so he's really covering all different quadrants and angles of the plate. And he's just very unpredictable because of the way he's using all of his pitches.
Is there anything a little funky in his delivery? Like, it kind of looks a little bit in slow motion and then zoom right at the end. He's coming at you.
Could be a little bit like Lauer from the left side. He's not a guy that gets that big extension or anything. And normally you don't see that from guys that changeup is his best pitch. But if you just pretend you're in the right-handed batter's box and the fastball could be either side, the slider's kind of away, the changeup's down and in. There's that going away.
Gives you a lot to think about.
Lots to think about and just hard to really get comfortable and sit on one of them. You can sit on the changeup, but it's such a good pitch that I'm not sure you're going to get it unless he really hangs it. He hasn't left too many in the middle.
Did he go? He did not. And that's ball 4 as Springer takes a walk. So a man on with 1 out in the 6th. And here's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who struck out in the 1st and had kind of a looper of a base hit into shallow center in the 4th.
Reese Olson throws that changeup out of the zone about as much as any pitcher in baseball, and that's why he gets a lot of swings and misses and chases.
And gets the call on the corner. It's 0-1. Springer 12 for 12 stealing bases this year, being held on at first by Torkelson, and draws a throw.
That was George yesterday that got pretty antsy over there. Almost got picked off, right? Really close play that they were reviewing.
Not going. And Guerrero lines it to left. Down the line, a fair ball. Springer on his way to third, and he's getting the wave. And he's going to come in to score. It'll be an RBI double for Guerrero to tie the game.
It looked like a bit of a replay of George scoring from second base before, but he didn't have to go as hard this time. Vladdy got to the changeup, and he stayed on it. Sounded like maybe off the end of his bat, but he stayed through the baseball long enough to catch it cleanly and get it into that left field corner. See him sink into his legs right there, really trying to extend through the baseball.
And Springer knew this one wasn't going to be quite as hard. Carlos Fablis gave him a little bit of a quieter, more nonchalant, you're going home, you're going home. Not the big wave.
We've done this before.
Yeah. So it's tied, and now a runner in scoring position with a 1 out for Bo Bichette, who was 0 for 2 and a couple of fly balls to right field.
Really good job by Vladdy staying on that pitch, especially with all the talk we've just had about the Reese Olson changeup.
That is in there for a strike, 1-1. Don't usually see the changeup up and in like that, but it caught the zone. Look at that RBI total for Bichette, 59 on the season, hitting .394 with runners in scoring position on the year. And then a good breaking ball down and away. To your point about all the different quadrants he can hit with so many different pitches.
Those flied out to right field twice. One was a slider away. The other looked like a sinker in that he really tried to stay inside and probably go into that little 2-strike approach here. But a little punch base hit somewhere could put the Blue Jays ahead.
Went after it, still 1-2.
I think you can get fooled by thinking when Bo goes into his little 2-strike approach that he's just trying to punch and put in play. That's not the case. The swing doesn't seem to look a whole lot different. It's just he's really waiting a little bit longer to see that a fraction of a second longer before he makes his decision.
Bounced in, picked by Dylan Dingler. 2-2 now, the count on Bichette. A run on 4 hits for the Blue Jays, a run on 3 hits for the Tigers. Opening game of a 4-game set. Up the middle. And to his left, the shortstop Baez will get Bichette by a step. 2 down as Guerrero comes to third. And another one that sounded like it might have been off the end of the bat.
Yep, slider down and away. Sounded like it broke his bat. Quality pitch there by Olsen at a critical time. This will be an interesting matchup. I think Dylan Dingler is going to go have a chat with his pitcher to see how they want to handle the left-handed hitting Addison Barger with Ernie Clement on deck.
Well, let me ask you this. If you're A.J. Hinch, are we getting to the point where you would consider putting Addison Barger on here and pitching to Clement?
I would. That's me. Not sure if that's...
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. That's A.J. too. You have to play the percentages in this game. And in this point in the ballgame, 6th inning, I'm not letting Addison Barger beat me against my right-handed pitcher.
Barger waiting for confirmation from Ramon De Jesus, the home plate umpire. That is the 4th time that Barger has been intentionally walked, and you understand it. You're just playing the percentages here. You got a left-handed batter with a lot of power who's swinging the bat very well versus a right-handed batter who doesn't have as much power. And even with the base hit that Clement had last time up, he has not been swinging it as well recently. So now if you're Ernie, you want to make them pay for their decision.
Absolutely.
Ball 1.
And these are the situations where the Blue Jays have been so successful cashing in runs. Cashing in runners in scoring position with 2 outs, finding a hole here, a lousy base hit scores them.
Well hit ball to deep left. And he made him pay. Did he ever? Ernie Clement got every bit of it and launches a 3-run homer.
Ernie's back. He has been going through it a little bit lately. We talked to John Schneider about that just the other day, but he got himself a base hit earlier, and then he is all over this pitch from Reese Olson after the intentional walk, and this was a slider that just caught a lot of plate for Ernie.
Number 5 on the season for Clement, and what a time for it. After the intentional walk to Barger with a couple of men on. And boy, we've seen a lot of 4-run innings for these Blue Jays recently.
Magic number.
Now ball and a strike on Joey Loperfido.
I think of those sliders from Reese Olson tonight. We haven't seen too many roll in there like that, and Olson knew it right when Ernie made contact.
Ooh.
And Ernie knew it right when he made contact.
Yes, he did. Ernie doesn't hit a ton of them, but he definitely knew that one was out.
Little added motivation there.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter where you are in the lineup. When they walk somebody to get to you, that has to feel a little extra special. Despite it probably being the right move by most managers around the game.
Now Loperfido with a high fly ball to deep right. And this one is gone. Clement and Loperfido go back-to-back. It is 5-1.
Reese Olson had been so good here up until the 6th inning with that changeup, with that slider. He left the slider middle to Ernie Clement, and Joey Loperfido gets on this changeup. And it is a no-doubter. He just sat there and admired it.
For the 5th time this year, the Blue Jays have gone back-to-back. Loperfido's been in on 2 of them. He and Lucas did it a couple of weeks ago. 2nd home run for Joey Loperfido. Where did this come after how Olson had been shutting them down the first 5 innings?
I think it was when we said it felt like a lethargic, hot evening. Not a lot of hitting going on. Maybe they heard us. Well, you definitely don't want to miss down and in to a left-handed batter with that changeup. Reese Olson is always down and away. Pulled this one just a bit, and that could be a little fatigue, a little whatever, but Joey took advantage.
He has taken advantage of his opportunities for about 10 games now since he has been called back up to the big leagues, and that's just the way it's been going for this team this year. And that hits Heineman. And that stung.
Well, watch this changeup from Reese Olson. You see the catcher. That changeup needs to be down and away, but he pulled it. And you can see Reese Olson is clearly losing his release point, and that is going to be it for him tonight.
So the Blue Jays chase Reese Olson here in the 6th with a couple of homers and a 5-run inning.
Died a hero. So guys, curious to see what bat this one is, because Dan, as you know, Clement was absolutely distraught when the bat broke from his tear last month. So we'll see whose bat this one hit for the home run.
Ernie is a very quirky bat guy, and he's got all kinds of theories about lucky and unlucky and how long it lasts, and he takes it all very, very seriously. He had a Spencer Horwitz bat earlier this year that he found, but then Horwitz got activated off the IL, and all of a sudden Ernie didn't get any hits for a couple of days, and he goes, well, Spencer's got all the hits in Pittsburgh with his bats, so the Spencer bat here won't work anymore, and he's not joking around when he talks about this kind
These
of stuff.
These stories just keep coming. I wouldn't put anything past Ernie. Who knows what he's using right now, but it worked.
Yep. Left-hander Dietrich Enns is into the game. Now for the Tigers, a 34-year-old, originally a 19th round pick out of Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, the same school that Joe Siddle comes from.
How about
that?
Up in Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
Yep. He has pitched in Korea and Japan, as well as for the Twins and the Rays, among a number of other minor league stops with different organizations.
And a long time between stints in the major leagues. 2017 with the Twins, then it was 21 with the Rays, and he's back in the big leagues with the Detroit Tigers.
Will Wagner hits a bouncer to second, and that will end the top of the 6th. But what an inning it is for the Blue Jays after the intentional walk to Addison Barger. Ernie. good position in the standings in terms of qualifying for the postseason, but they know there is a long way to go, including tonight. 60 games, a lot of baseball left. But boy, 4 up in the division and 7.5 clear of the first team on the outside looking in, which is Tampa Bay. That's all good stuff. But they know they've got to keep playing well. And all of a sudden, after that 6th inning, things look very promising tonight. It is 5-1. And now we can turn our attention again to Eric Lauer, who just kind of quietly, as he tends to do, just gets people out.
Understated, just kind of under the radar.
A run on 3 hits, the run, a home run by Jahmai Jones way back in the first. Has not walked a batter.
And interestingly, I think one thing Eric Lauer has done throughout the course of this game, and it could be along with his catcher, Tyler Heineman, is that he's really staying away from the righties for the most part. He came in with a couple of fastballs to Jones in that first at-bat, and he took him deep. Big ballpark, make them use the big part of the ballpark, stay away from these righties. He's done a nice job of that.
One, 2 on the way, and that misses low. Gleyber Torres, Jahmai Jones, Spencer Torkelson, the top of the order for the Tigers here in the 6th. You can see Lauer's pitch count very efficient so far tonight.
Coming in this time.
This will get well back into the seats over the Blue Jays dugout, about 12 rows back in. And this is normally the case on the road. You see a lot of the blue on the side where the Blue Jay dugout is. Nice catch. Didn't drop his Slurpee. Tonight's not a good night to drop the Slurpee. It is hot.
Don't drop the cold drinks.
3-2. You know, too, with this busy stretch, no off days, every inning, every out they can get from a starting pitcher if things are going well means a lot. And a curveball is lifted into center field. Should be routine for Nathan Lucas. 1 down.
Well, this is another example. You may come in at the odd time, but he's going to use he's been using the cutters and the curveballs away. You see the setup just out there? Start it away, bring it back, and it's a very defensive, weak swing from the leadoff hitter. That's just crafty pitching. Good execution.
Always nice to get the first guy, and Lauer's gotten the first guy in all 6 innings tonight. Now here's Jones, who got him with the home run back in the first. I swear he could close his eyes and throw a curveball for a strike.
It's just a beautiful thing. I'm sure he's kicking himself, too. I've done that before as a catcher, too. You try to get a little too crafty early in the ball game. Maybe the scouting report says this, so let's do this. Well, sometimes you just pitch the game the way it's supposed to be played. Oftentimes that's staying away from damage.
And speaking of damage, Tyler Heineman's got to walk it off. He got clipped by that foul ball, and it's 0-2.
It's after getting hit by a pitch, too.
Yeah. And he's probably thinking, you know, when I was 9 years old, the coach said, does anybody want to catch today?
Oh, remember those
Right.
days?
Just don't put your hand up, kids.
You see, it got the shin guard, but you still feel it because it's the top of your knee, and there's a lot of bone under there. I remember coaching kids. Who wants to catch? They all put the arms up, and about a week later, the arms don't come up because they've all gotten a foul tip or two.
Yep.
Just the real smart ones want to keep doing it, right, Dan?
But but they all say it's the, quote, fastest way to the big leagues, right? So that's why kids want to catch.
Is that right?
You tell me. Why did you want to catch?
I don't know. It was quite a journey for me. I wanted to catch because I loved it.
And a swing and a miss. Jones strikes out. How old would you say you were the first time you put the gear on? Like right away?
6, 7.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I went right away. I caught when I was very young. I have a brother, Jim, 2 years older than me. He would pitch 4 innings, I would catch, and then I would catch the other 3 innings, or pitch the other 3 innings, he would catch, so we'd do the flip-flop. And, yeah, from the day I first started playing baseball as a little kid, I loved the position, and I think part of it, I was a quarterback in football. Maybe it's got a little bit of being in control of the game, being in charge of the game,
right.
But I loved that part of it.
I don't think our viewers would know you're a control freak. You come
I didn't
off very
say
nice
that
on the air. So. What did you ever like? Was there a sum or whatever? You were a third baseman or a right fielder. Was there ever kind of a hold that thought?
Not really.
No, catcher through and through.
Yep.
How about Eric Lauer? 6 innings, 1 run here in Detroit. We were told maybe around 9 o'clock, thunderstorms. 5-1 Blue Jays here, top 7. Speaking of Andres Gimenez, we didn't talk about him a little bit earlier when we were updating some of the players who are out right now for the Blue Jays. And John Schneider told us before the game, you know, Gimenez is rehabbing that ankle injury. And he has started a running progression in Toronto. And John Schneider said, quote, it went better than expected today. So that's all the news. He's not close. I mean, he's probably still at least a couple of weeks away. He'll be after the trade deadline, but he's a guy the Blue Jays know they're going to get back, and they know what they're going to get when they get him back. It'll be interesting. If Dalton Varsho's back in a few days, obviously somebody on the roster goes down to Buffalo, and then Andres Gimenez comes back, somebody else goes, and trade deadline, maybe somebody shows up, so somebody else has to go, and so there will be some changes, obviously, on this roster. Lucas lifts one down the right field line, and it is going to fall fair. How about that? Boy, I'll tell you, this team is living right now. That's a double for Lucas.
Well, when he popped it up, you could see that the right fielder, Winsel Perez, had a long ways to go, and he wasn't going to get to the ball. But I'm not sure Lucas thought it was going to stay fair. Like right here, he's not really going, and then he finally kicked it into gear, and sure enough, it's about a foot fair.
And it's a leadoff double. The Blue Jays already up 5-1. Now George Springer 0 for 2 with a walk. But even, for example, when Dalton Varsho comes back, that will impact people. Nathan Lucas will be impacted. So will he still be in there every day against a righty? Maybe, maybe not. He'll probably move to a corner. Varsho would be in center. If he moves to a corner, does that impact Loper Fido or Barger? Does Barger come into the infield? Does that impact Clement? And all of these moving parts are going to be moved around a little bit more.
They have a lot of moving parts, and it's been working very well, but it'll just be a continuation of that minus a little playing time for some of them.
I guess it's a good problem, right?
It's a great problem.
Yeah.
And I don't think, the other question is, even when you talk about the trade deadline, I hear a lot of people talk about people that you bring in and can you disrupt the mojo that's going on here. And I believe in all that. I think a great thing is going on here, but I think also anytime you can add a good player, that's a positive thing.
And here's a ground ball to short and a good bit of base running by Lucas. Saw it hit to his left. He takes third now with one out as we say hello again to Hazel.
Dan Anthony Santander is going back to Florida tomorrow. And I said to him, how has rehabbing been? He said, it is a little lonely. He says it's a lot more frustrating because it's been over 8 weeks. And he said, my shoulder isn't getting better, but he's going to continue to keep working hard and staying positive, Dan.
And that's a guy you just don't know if he's going to come back this year. Other guys have, shorter timelines. They're progressing, and unfortunately for Anthony Santander, that just has not been the case. John Schneider said a couple of days ago, it's not like they are writing off the possibility of him coming back, but just no way to know for sure at this point. Infield in here for the Tigers. Runner at third, one out. And the batter is Vladimir Guerrero Jr., 2 for 3 with a single and a double. Guerrero telling Lucas, stay right there.
Well, Nathan Lucas put them in this situation, not just with his double, but able to advance on that ground ball by Springer to the left side of the infield. He felt he could beat it. He did, and now he's there, and the infield's in for Vladdy. Good chance to add on here.
Which they will. A line drive base hit into right for Guerrero, and it's 6-1.
They just continue to play the game the right way, up and down this lineup. And it's been such a long stretch of that. George Springer knows. There it is. How about the soon-to-be 41-year-old Max Scherzer giving a Springer a high five there for moving that runner over, and Vladdy takes care of business.
Third hit and second RBI tonight for Guerrero. Speaking of Scherzer, by the way, as you said, soon to be 41 years old. And you're not kidding. Soon, as in Sunday. And he's going to start on Sunday. Right here in Detroit. He spent 5 years as a Tiger. Went to a World Series as a Tiger. Won a Cy Young as a Tiger. You and I were in conversation with him down in the dugout. And if we didn't have obligations, we might still be talking to him. He always is. He was chatty and fun today, talking about anything and everything.
Wind him up.
Yep.
We were talking a lot about pitching and pitching mechanics and going back to his youth, even his teen years. It's fascinating.
Off the glove of ends. Safe at second, safe at first. An infield hit for Bo Bichette.
Well, this ball got all inside on Bo and jammed him, but just off the pitcher's glove, and that deflected it into the hole at short, just far enough for Bo to beat it out. And I'm sure Chris Feder is going out to have a conversation with this pitcher to say, hey, keep doing what you're doing, because if you look back at how this inning started, it was Nathan Lucas with that bloop double down the right field line. Yes, Vladdy hit a change up well to right field, but that's just another jam shot right there.
Leading over, and with a couple of men on and a run already in, Ends will now face Addison Barger. Barger 0 for 2. Line out to second, line out to right, deep right, and then intentionally walked in the sixth. Ernie Clement then came up and hit a 3-run homer. A strike at the knees at 96 from Ends. You always like to see Barger just get a little bit more experience against lefties at the big league level. Trying to bust through that. Well, will he be in there against a lefty level too? Sure, he's an everyday player. He's always in there kind of level.
And it just feels like to me, I want to see them in there every day, even against lefty starters, just to continue to see them. Because the more you see them when you are in a ball game and you see a lefty reliever come out of the pen, you feel more comfortable, hopefully. With a young player with this much talent, you have to keep throwing him out there to develop.
Line drive right center field. And he's going to be running for a while. Guerrero is in to score. Bichette behind him. It is a triple for Barger to drive in a couple and make it 8-1.
That's why you do it. More and more experience for a young player with all of his talent is just going to continue to help him develop as a very good young hitter in this league. This was a cutter that stayed out over the plate a little bit after a couple fastballs, and he stayed on it. That's tough to do for a left-handed hitter against a lefty like Enns. And you know right off your bat, in Comerica Park, you're thinking 3 right away.
Because it's so deep out in the alleys. Infield in for the Tigers. Here's Clement. So for the first 5 innings, the Blue Jays didn't do much of anything offensively. But 5 runs in the 6th, home runs for Clement and Loperfido, and 3 so far here in the 7th. And now a fly ball to left field. It's pretty deep. Barger's going to tag. He'll come in to score. It's a sac fly for Clement. His 4th RBI of the night. It's 9-1.
Plate appearances just continue to consistently be quality. One after another after another. This time Ernie gets a changeup from Enns. What do? You stay on that thing. You stay on it really well.
You know, this is a good sign, too, because we all know how many runs they've scored at home, how good they have been at home over the last couple of months. But at times they haven't looked like the same team on the road. Remember the last road trip before the All-Star break, the White Sox and the A's, and they didn't play particularly well. They went 3-3 on that road trip. Got in here late last night, got to the hotel at about 2:30 in the morning. Took them a while to kind of get it going here tonight. But good to see them playing the brand of baseball that we've all seen them play so much.
And I was almost going there in about the 4th or 5th inning thinking, it was a tough travel night with a night game in Toronto last night, late night arriving here in Detroit. By the time you crawl into bed, it's about 2:45 a.m., and that's a tough one. You wake up and it's a hot day and you're a little lethargic, but we just had to get rolling a little bit.
And this extra offense really helps them because, Lauer's cruising. There's no reason to not send Lauer out there for the 7th, but assuming at some point you need help from the pen, if things stay kind of like they are, you don't have to think about Hoffman and Little and Rodriguez. And every day off you can get those guys can help you later on.
Eric Lauer has thrown 70 pitches through 6 innings. If he's up at 100 right now, you can't just keep throwing him out there. But because he's been so efficient, why not? Save yourself an inning or 2 from the bullpen.
Loperfido with a swing and a miss. That'll retire the side, but the Blue Jays add on 4 more runs in the top of the 7th. Lauer's coming. And Eric Lauer has been cruising. Just a run on 3 hits. He has not walked a batter. He has struck out 2. And as Joe mentioned, it's just 70 pitches going to the 7th inning. All right, I know you checked your weather app between innings. What did it say?
We have a little time, not a lot of time.
Define a little time.
Hour? We're inside an hour.
Okay. The storm's coming. 0-2 on Green.
Now, I said an hour, and I'm seeing a lot of people kind of making their way up the exits. I'm not sure if it's the score of the game or if they're giving away freezy pops at the concession stand.
A few clouds overhead, but nothing that would make you look up and go, uh-oh, it's close. Swing and a miss, and Lauer gets Green. Out number 1.
Eric Lauer continuing to cruise along. Not too many lefties in this Tigers lineup tonight. Just Riley Green and Colt Keith. But he handles him there after Green had flipped a base hit to left center last time up in an 0-2 count.
Fastball, then the curveball for the put-away pitch. Matt Vierling, the center fielder, is 0 for 2. So that's behind us. We can't see that. We're looking out to center field, and honestly,
the cloud looks nice.
Yeah, like if you take a shot out towards center field, it looks pretty nice. Behind us, not so good.
Well, didn't see that.
No.
Didn't check in my rear view mirror.
See, that looks fine.
Beautiful. It's a portrait.
That's Windsor out that way, right?
Yeah.
Center field.
And
That's
I'm
Windsor.
guessing that dark stuff is moving toward home plate. And you know where we are? We're near home plate.
Yeah, it's coming. Sometimes the first thing you can hear is there's a swing and a miss, a ball in the dirt. Heineman down to first, back-to-back strikeouts for Lauer. As we all know, sometimes the first change you feel is the wind.
Yes.
Changes direction, or there's more of it.
Maybe a little cooler air.
Yeah. Like a warning sign. That's kind of ominous. Two down, here's Wenzel Perez, and he's popped it up. And you know what? Eric Lauer's doing everything he can
to beat the rain,
to finish off this ball game before Mother Nature takes over.
Reese Olson, and I don't think AJ or Reese expected that slider to be in the middle of the plate. A huge swing in this game. It put the Blue Jays up 4-1, and they have not looked back.
Leading 9-1 right now, top of the 8th inning with the weather closing in. And a new pitcher is on for the Tigers, a guy who the Blue Jays actually saw as a Yankee a few weeks ago, and that is Jeff Hartley, but it didn't go particularly well for Hartley when he saw the Blue Jays.
Well, AJ talked about him today, and they just needed somebody coming out of that bullpen that can be efficient, and he called him a strike thrower. And if you're not efficient as a reliever, you're going to extend the number of pitches you're throwing, and then perhaps you're not available for a day or two. And they're just going through these stretches. They need arms and they need availability.
They DFA'd pitcher Carlos Hernandez and selected the contract of Hartlieb from AAA Toledo. Tyler Heineman leading off the 8th. It's a one-hopper down to first. Torkelson the flip to Hartlieb, one down. Kidding, not kidding. 9-1. Weather really close. Are the Blue Jay hitters thinking swing early?
No, I don't think so. I think you still go have your at-bats right here because even with the game in hand, it is a complete game. You may have to wait around for an hour or an hour and some change if there is a rain delay to finish it, but you take too much pride in your at-bats and they mean too much to you. Now, if this was the 5th inning and you're trying to make it a complete game, I would say speed them up if you've got the score and make it a complete game. It would come into play.
Will Wagner, the batter, he's 1 for 3, had a base hit to center back in the 3rd. 0-2.
Hartlieb really a two-pitch pitcher. He's got the four-seamer and the sinker for fastballs, but lots of sliders.
If you're wondering, there is nobody up in the Blue Jay bullpen, so it sure looks like Eric Lauer is going to come back out to at least begin the bottom of the 8th.
You know what I just felt, Dan?
Yeah, I felt it too.
A little coolness to the breeze.
I felt it too, yeah. Oh, boy. Foul third base side and back out of play. To left field, and that's the second hit of the night for Wagner.
Such a good piece of hitting by Wagner, and I've talked to him before about getting deep in the count and getting behind in the count like this, and he's really just he's looking out over, he's looking middle away and trying to shoot it that way, and that's just two-strike hitting to a T right there. Beautiful.
A one-out single here in the 8th inning, and back around to the top of the order for Nathan Lucas, who hit a bloop double down the right field line, and now he hits one hard down the right field line. Will it stay fair? It will! Nathan Lucas just obliterated that ball for a lone two-run homer down the line. It is 11-1.
Well, Jeff Hartlieb having trouble in his first game with his new team. And that's going to send a lot of people to the exits here at Comerica Park. It was a no-doubter. It was just a matter of whether it was going to stay fair. And I was watching Nathan Lucas as a hitter. You can usually tell. And I think he could tell he did not hook that ball a whole lot. Stayed fair.
Nathan knows he'll hit a few home runs here and there, but he understands he doesn't have Guerrero, Barger, Springer kind of power. He hit that ball, Joe, 420 feet. Whew. Now the Blue Jays have really put it all together tonight. An outstanding effort from Eric Lauer. 3 home runs and some very good situational hitting as well. It's a good recipe for a W.
And a starting pitcher just cruising along, keeping that bullpen rested. 3 more big games here at Comerica Park this weekend. And now you're entering game 2 with a pretty fresh pen.
Now Springer lines one to left. And this will get to the wall. And Springer can cruise into second with a double.
Well, Nathan Lucas got a slider, and he was up and middle in. You can see where the catcher wants that pitch, and this is what we see so often. When you watch highlights of home runs, there is a good chance that the pitcher did not execute his pitch. Looked like he wanted a backdoor slider away from the left-handed hitter, and then George is just all over this one as he smokes this double into the left field corner. Comfortable ABs up and down this lineup.
Vladimir Guerrero's 3 for 4 with 2 singles and a double and a couple of RBIs. A strike on the inside corner, 0-1. It was 1-0 Tigers through 5. And the Blue Jays have scored 5 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th, and 2 here in the 8th.
They're getting really good at putting up crooked numbers.
They are.
And when you can put up crooked numbers almost every game, you're going to do very well. This offense has really carried this team.
Yep.
It's remarkable what they have done.
The 44-22 stretch they are on over the last 66 games. They have been the best offensive team in baseball over that stretch. Number 1 in runs per game. And if I had said to you or you had said to me, is Guerrero's okay? It was a slider. Vladdy knows it, but he's still tapping his heart a little bit. He's all right. If I had said to you or you had said to me, back in April or the first half of May, they're going to go on a 66-game run where they'll be the best team in best offense in baseball, nobody would have believed that.
No, and I think if anybody says they would, they're lying. But then you do it, and we've seen it now for 2.5 months, and there are a lot of people in that room that are believing this is what they are, including us now that we watch this every day.
Well, and to do it against a good pitcher, a good team, in a pitcher's park, after getting in the middle of the night, again, just another sign that these guys are all very focused and locked in on the task at hand right now. Being in first place is a way of doing that to you, but they had to get to first place, and they did that.
And there is a good chance A.J. Hinch and the Tigers are going through it right now. They're going through a little stretch. The Blue Jays are probably going to go through a tough stretch here at some point. But this is what you're banking.
Even this at bat, and he might strike out on this pitch, who knows? But Vladdy's not goofing around right now. And it's 11-1. Took a timeout, 3-2, thinking about things.
That's what I mean about taking pride in your at-bats. They mean something dearly to everyone.
It's the ball to right center field. It'll be run down out there by Vierling. Out number 2 as Springer comes to third.
That is not a soft out. That could be one of the better swings we have seen from Vladdy in a long time. I think he is right where he wants to be when he is lining that ball to the right center gap. I think that's the style of hitter he is right there. Hard line shot to the opposite gap. And then when you catch the ball in different places, contact point wise, that'll dictate where it goes. But mechanically, he's in a really good place with that swing.
Runner at third, 2 down. Bo Bichette, the batter. Bichette is 1 for 4, singled and scored an inning ago. $11 runs on 13 hits for the Blue Jays. 1 run on 3 hits for the Tigers against Eric Lauer. Lauer's kind of gotten to the point, and this is almost unfair to him, where you just kind of take for granted what he's doing. And nobody should take for granted how good he has been. I mean, he's been a big leaguer, right, for about 5 years before this year, but he pitched in Korea and at AAA last year.
Good big leaguer at times.
Yes.
Some good years.
But he had to work his way back.
Yeah. There's nobody in that clubhouse that takes him for granted.
Nope.
As players, you understand the journeys of different guys and where they come from and how it's been, and battling injuries and coming back and persevering.
A strike, 3-1. And at the beginning, a bulk guy or a spot starter, or put him in for a couple of innings once through, as they were building him up and getting to trust him and seeing how good he was. And aren't they glad they did? And he's coming back out for the 8th. Getting darker and darker by the moment here above the ballpark, by the way. A ground ball down to third. Colt Keith will throw Bichette out to retire the side, but a home run by Lucas makes it 11-1. Let's get a Blue Jay Central update now with Brad and Madison at the Home Hardware Studio. The offense is delivering the thunder tonight, no pun intended, with what may be minutes away. But how about the job Eric Lauer has done?
He has been absolutely outstanding, and he's really kind of been in cruise control. He gave up the home run early, and opposite Reese Olson, this game did not have a great feeling for Blue Jays fans because they were down 1-0, and he has just kept his team in the game. And what do? They allow this offense to, what's that word again? Come back. How many times have they done it? They've done it again here tonight.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
You're down 1-0, you win 11-1 or whatever. That's a come from behind victory, and they've got the second most in baseball this year. Only the Dodgers have more. Dylan Dingler leading off the bottom of the eighth for the Tigers, and a number of defensive changes for the Blue Jays. We'll just give them to you verbally. Davis Schneider has come into the game in left. Joey Loperfido has moved from left to right. George Springer is out of the game. Bo Bichette is out as well. Ernie Clement is at short now, and Leo Jimenez is at second. Just outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a little soft looper over the head of Barger, just fair. And that'll be a base hit for Dingler.
Well, Dylan Dingler putting together a nice little season for the Tigers behind the plate. This one gets in on him, but he just drops it over the head of Barger at third.
Saw Will Wagner there telling Eric Lauer they've told him not to hold the runner on, and it's 11-1, so you can understand Wagner will play behind the runner. The batter is Colt Keith, the third baseman, who's 0 for 2. Swing and a miss, 0-1. And misses high, a ball and a strike. In the air to center field, not deep. And there is Lucas to make the play, 1 down. And for the first time tonight, some activity in the Blue Jay bullpen. It's Chad Green, who did not even get up in the bullpen at all during the Yankees series. And you and I walked into the ballpark with him and saw him, and we asked him, everything okay? He goes, yeah, they didn't call his number. John Schneider was asked about it before the game. They said just the specific situations they had. They felt there was another option that they were going to turn to, but there's nothing wrong with Chad Green. Some guys were down, of course. Jeff Hoffman, Brendan Little, Mason Fluharty, they were all down last night, but getting those guys a day off today, an extra bonus here for the Blue Jays.
Games evolve and they take on lives of themselves, and depending on the score, that alters your plans. You just adjust accordingly on the fly.
Javier Baez 0 for 2 on a couple of ground balls. Has cooled off some in recent weeks after a really nice start to the season. He's still been a good player for the Tigers, but he's not producing quite at the level he was earlier on. This is way up in the air, down the first baseline. Wagner and Jimenez, and it drops fair as Leo Jimenez kept going after it, and it looked like he collided with and tripped over the foot or ankle maybe of Wagner, and Jimenez might have gotten the worst of it. Wagner seems to be unharmed, but Leo definitely looked like he felt it when he went down to the grass.
Well, the winds have certainly picked up a little bit, but this is going to drop among the 3 defenders. But it looked like Leo was taking it all the way, and maybe Will didn't hear him, whereas Wagner thought he was under it, and he came in hard. But there's a good chance one didn't hear the other.
And it landed in fair territory, so it's a base hit for Baez. Dingler to second, and now a pinch hitter is Trey Sweeney is batting for Gleyber Torres. So A.J. Hinch is going to get a guy or two a little bit of extra rest. Sweeney, who started the year as the everyday shortstop for the Tigers, but has not produced much with the bat recently. You can see the overall numbers, and he's become kind of a part-time player recently for Detroit. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Again, the Tigers coming in having lost 9 of their last 10. By far, their worst stretch of the season. For much of the year, they had the best record in the majors and certainly in the American League. But right now, entering play tonight, that strike 3 call, 2 down. A half game behind the Blue Jays and the Astros, who share the best record in the American League at the moment. Assuming the Blue Jays will go on to win, the Astros will have to win to keep pace, and they are early, but trailing the Athletics 1-0 in the third in Houston. If the Astros lose tonight, Joe, the Blue Jays are going to wake up tomorrow with the best record in the league.
Sleep well.
I guess they will. I mean, whoever would have thought we'd be having these kinds of conversations? Jahmai Jones hits it foul down the line.
No, the conversations just continue to get crazier. And all the while, you just want to kind of continue to ride that wave. Keep it going.
The Tigers kind of fortunate that none of the teams behind them, although the Guardians are playing much better now, but the Tigers built up such a big lead that even with a loss tonight, they'd still be 8 games up on Cleveland in their division. American League Central got off to a really good start this year, but Minnesota has fallen back. Kansas City has fallen back. They both look like sellers. And speaking of trades, Hazel just showed me the Arizona Diamondbacks. It looks like they're sellers. They have traded Josh Naylor to Seattle. Seattle looking for a little thump. And Arizona, evidently they are going to sell. And if they traded Naylor, you got to believe they're going to trade Eugenio Suarez and Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen. Multiple reports online suggesting that the Mariners have acquired Josh Naylor from the Arizona Diamondbacks.
While you're trying to continue to ramp up that offense, pitching is normally pretty good. They've dealt with some injuries as well. But Josh is a free agent. Just a really good overall hitter, too, not just the power bat.
Yeah. This will be his 4th big league club. Originally a first-round pick of the Marlins, but he didn't come to the majors with the Marlins. Came to the majors with the Padres, a few good years with Cleveland, of course. Just this year with Arizona, and now reportedly on his way to Seattle. The 2-2 to Jones is up and away, a full count. Runners will be on the move.
Tyler Heineman looked like maybe he dropped his pitch comm or something went wrong. You could see his hands were up in the air as if maybe the button he pushed wasn't the right one or something clearly went awry.
Well, they've got the mound visits to spare, so making sure everything's working.
Last thing you want is a pitch clock violation with a 3-2 count.
How often do you get to the bottom of the 8th inning and neither the pitching coach nor the manager have come out to the mound at all tonight?
That's called cruise control.
Yeah.
Things are going well.
Yeah.
Maybe the battery's running low.
Anybody got a spare?
We're fine.
We're fine.
Tyler's got it under control.
I don't know what he did, but now we're fine.
They might have swapped transmitters.
Remember, he's a magician. John Lannon, who's the mental skills coach for the Blue Jays, he always seems to be the guy they talk to whenever there's any kind of a tech issue.
Did you see Tyler Heineman handle this situation? I mean, he's in complete charge out there.
Yeah.
Under control.
Catcher.
Oh, took control.
And now the 3-2. Strike 3 call. Gets the call at the bottom of the zone. And strands a couple of runners. Jahmai Jones did not like it. Through 8, still 11-1 Blue Jays. Not where you want to be if you're A.J. Hinch and the Tigers, but where you kind of feel you have to be given the situation.
A little knuckleball grip maybe there. Ernie likes it. You know, Ernie likes to throw knuckleballs, right? He's appreciating it.
Ernie will take this in good spirits. He's had a good night, so that helps. Good eye. A 3-run homer for Clement. Biggest hit of the game, right? They intentionally walked Barger. It was 1-0. Clement hit a 3-run homer. Ooh, behind him.
Probably not exactly what you needed with a storm brewing.
No. Ooh.
Big play.
Big strike zone, everybody.
I think Ernie will understand it.
Yeah. 11-1, 9th inning, and a thunderstorm's coming. Be swinging. Ground ball to short. Sweeney is out there now for the Tigers, and he'll make the play 2 down. Looked like Loperfita was probably smiling out at Rogers. Rogers nodded and smiled back. Eric Lauer 8 great innings tonight. Ball 1. Loperfido with a home run tonight. So Clement, Loperfido, and Lucas hitting the home runs. And now a well-hit ball into right. That'll get down for a base hit. So again, they hit 3 home runs tonight. And sure, it could be Springer, Bichette, and Guerrero. But it's Clement, Loperfido, and Lucas. The kind of story we've been telling and seeing all season long.
It's really just a broken record now. And we put a little graphic up earlier, and we were highlighting some of the players that have really made huge impact on this team. Eric Lauer was on it. Yariel Rodriguez was on it. We could make one of those every night.
Yep. Looks like Chad Green's coming in for the 9th. Tyler Heineman hit a little dribbler foul and was hightailing it down to first, so he had to come back, grab the bat, get ready to go again. One and one. That gets through Rogers. Sweeney has it, bare hands, and doesn't get him. And it'll be an infield hit for Heineman.
Well, you said earlier tonight, Dan, as a catcher, backup catcher, and we talked about just doing your job behind the plate, and I said it doesn't matter if you go 0 for 4, but it kind of does, because you want to get a knock any way you can. Watch this reaction. Oh, base hit. Just completes his evening. It's off a position player, but box score won't show that, will it?
How about Jake Rogers then starting Will Wagner with an 81-mile-an-hour fastball after he's been throwing all these 54s and 52s up there tonight. Wagner's 2 for 4. A couple of singles. He has scored a run. Outside. 2 balls and a strike. And got in on his hands. It is popped up. And that's that in the top of the 9th. Blue Jays leave a couple of men on. What a night for Eric Lauer. His work is done. Chad Green in for the bottom of the 9th.
inning for him to get back, make sure you're sharp for the next time they do need you in a closer game.
This is up and away, ball one to Spencer Torkelson, the first baseman for the Tigers. Fastball hit deep left field, and Torkelson has hit it out. Number 22 on the season for the Tiger first baseman.
Chad Green's had trouble with the long ball, and in that game, his last game he pitched on Saturday, he gave up a solo shot to Willie Adames in his one inning of work. The Blue Jays held on to win that game 6-3, but it's been a tough one for him. It's like when he's given up that hard contact, it's going over the fence.
They're going out, yeah.
That's trying to go away there, and it came back to the inside part of the plate.
That's the 12th home run he has surrendered this season. Now Riley Green, 1 for 3, had a base hit back in the fourth. Popped up. Clement, who's now at short, going back, and it's going to drop. Lucas charging in, but could not quite get all the way there to make the play. And that'll be a base hit for Green.
Well, this game can't end soon enough. Just hopefully the Blue Jays can get out of here before anybody gets hurt. It's a big outfield out there, so when everybody's converging on you really need to communicate. And I'm not sure that Lucas was getting to this ball with as big as outfield as it is. He's coming from a pretty deep spot the way he's playing Riley Green. Breeze is still taking the ball out a little bit to center, right center.
Now Matt Vierling, 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. By the way, we're back with you tomorrow night, the second game of the series. Blue Jays Central at 6:30 Eastern. First pitch at 7:10. This is into right field, and that's a base hit. Coming around to third is Green on the single by Vierling. And the Tigers not willing to just pack it in here.
Well, and if you're Chad Green, he hadn't pitched since Saturday, and when the work is few and far between, when you do get back out there, you want to take advantage and get back and get sharp again. But it has been a tough inning here early, despite the blooper in center.
Wencel Perez, the batter now. Switch hitter who turns around to bat from the left side for the first time tonight. The pitching matchup tomorrow night, by the way, Jose Barrios for the Blue Jays, right-hander Kader Montero for the Tigers. At this point, Tarek Skubal is expected to start for the Tigers on Saturday. Runner from first will break. A ground ball to second. Jimenez will make the play to first. So an out, but a run in to make it 11-3. Tarek Skubal is currently on the paternity list. And as of just before the game today, A.J. Hinch was asked about it and said he didn't know yet if the baby had been born. But it is expected that Tarek Skubal is going to be back Saturday to start against the Blue Jays. Or he didn't say he didn't know. He just didn't confirm one way or another what the situation might be.
Sharing.
Yeah, which is his prerogative, of course, and family wishes and all that. The Saturday starter for the Blue Jays is Kevin Gausman. And then again, Max Scherzer will start Sunday against one of his former teams. On his 41st birthday, Jack Flaherty will be the starter for Detroit. Popped up. Wagner. And you can see the wind is messing with things right now. He'll make the catch, 2 down. And you're right, this game cannot end soon enough if you're the Blue Jays right now.
Yeah, the wind is blowing pretty good up there, and with this apparent storm closing in on us, the flags have gotten pretty stiff.
So an out away from a victory that would put them 19 games over 500 for the first time this season. And it would put them a half game ahead of the Astros for the best record in the American League. And Houston is trailing the A's 3-0 in the fourth. And a base hit through the right side for Keith. A run will come in to score. Bierling is in to make it 11-4.
A tough go for Chad Green. The most important thing is you just get this out to get his team out of here. Last thing you want to do is use up another bullpen arm in a game like this.
And now Jake Rogers, a catcher who, of course, came in as a pitcher here in the top of the ninth. He'll get his first at bat, probably only at bat here. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
That's a better slider by Chad.
And Rogers wouldn't chase that slider, ball one. Tommy Nance is up just in case. Fastball foul back, still 1-2.
Chad's had a lot of those sliders tonight kind of back up and stay up in the zone. And that's just about your mechanics, your release point. Maybe shaking off a little rust.
Got him. Fastball on the outside corner to end the ball game. And the Blue Jays will take the opening game of the series by a score of 11-4. An outstanding performance by Eric Lauer tonight. 8 innings, a run on 5 hits. The Blue Jays hit 3 home runs in this game. Ernie Clement, Joey Loperfido, and Nathan Lucas as they score 11 runs on 15 hits to move to 61-42 on the season.
Some nights it's the power, some nights they do it many different ways, and this is a bit of a combination, but more importantly than anything, Eric Lauer on the mound as a starting pitcher, really in cruise control against the struggling Tigers lineup all night long.
We're back with you tomorrow night for Game 2 of this series. Again, the final tonight, the Blue Jays 11 and the Tigers 4. Let's go back to the studios.